Wrestling fans, more importantly, 12 gauge professional wrestling fans, welcome to the debut episode. Yep, we plan to have more than one unless the government shuts us down. We'll see about that. We can always move locations. But this is the Charismatic Impact Show where we review and talk all things 12 gauge professional wrestling. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. I'm joined by the one and only Kyle Charisma. How are you, bud?
I am doing fantastic. My punk rock lifestyle has been thriving lately, Jeremy.
Yes, it has. And folks, I don't if in case you were at the 12 gauge show over the weekend, you know Kyle looks a little different. He is wearing a shirt again
That's correct. Yes. I
that
wore
he
my
did not
best.
hand draw.
Yes, absolutely. I wish I could claim that I designed this Sex Pistols shirt, but no, sadly, it was bought in a shop. I'm
Yep,
I'm
I
a
was about to
hack.
say it was designed probably slightly before we were both hatched,
Probably, yes.
but definitely good choice. Sid Vicious will always play in this
two
house.
two great shirts. We both have
Oh yeah,
fantastic
yep.
shirts on for this show.
We absolutely do. I'm not sure how long I'm going to wear these because it's a little weird and they're reflecting everything. But basically, for people who don't know what charismatic impact is, we're going to, at this case, we're going to review the House of Fears show from 12 Gauge Professional Wrestling that happened just this Saturday. Just basically going to go through it and we're going to break it down as only we can because I was sitting there front row, you were sitting front row as opposed and also as the ring announcer. So we had some unique views going on, and we're going to dig in a little deeper than Rocky did on his live show.
Let's do it, brother.
All right, I'm going to keep these on for a while. All
There
right,
you
so
go.
we had a special thing that it kind of threw me off for a second, but then this was one thing Rocky actually broke down on the live show just a few hours ago. We had a pre-show match, and he said this all come about because these two young, hungry wrestlers showed up to the show and said, "Hey, we'd like to be a part of the show. Do you have a spot for us tonight?" And he says, "If you want to wrestle on the pre-show, you can have that spot." And so we got to see Loose Link Lucio versus DJ Bruner.
Brutal.
Couldn't read my own writing. DJ Bruner. So you got to stand in the ring with these guys. What kind of vibe were they kind of giving off, and what did you think of the match?
I mean, I'll tell you what. Lucio Loose Link is very fitting. When he came out to Psycho Killer, I was pretty excited, and I hope everyone else is excited. That's one of those songs that just kind of just gets my blood pumping. It's one that I have to sing along to, and so they were a lot of fun. But I'll say though, I was more impressed with DJ Bruner. I thought everything he was doing was absolutely wonderful. I think the Loose Link is gonna have to maybe get his stuff together a little bit more if he wants to win next time. But we got a lot of Psycho Killers on our
Yeah.
roster, so I'm sure he'll find a place no matter what.
Although once we get into the main event, there is one less Psycho Killer currently on the
There,
roster, and we will get into that. But trust me, that is the end of the show there.
and and
Yeah,
and thank goodness, in my opinion, man.
I will withhold statement till we get to that point for a lot of reasons. Um, but yeah, I agree. I felt like DJ had a lot of energy. Now Lucio did too, but he had DJ had a lot of energy. He was trying to package it together in a really good way. He was controlling a lot of the match. I mean, there's a chance that he's the veteran of the two. I honestly didn't know enough about either to know how new to the game they really are. But yeah, Lucio got my attention when he come out and he was just kind of vibing around. He kind of gave off a Vincent vibe a little bit for people who know who Vincent is from AEW fame and ring. But he was singing along and he had this. Just I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's got great choice in music. And I think if he can translate that into his in ring persona, I think he can do some good stuff. I think he's got a little bit to work on as far as that. But I thought it was a good way to start. It actually pumped up the crowd.
Well, maybe he needs exactly what his song implies, which is he needs a talking head.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. And I guess that means our phones will be ringing soon, and I will have to figure out how to make that work.
No one does it better than us, brother.
Right? Then we move to the actual main card, and
And
two
what
people
an
I'm very
opener it
familiar with.
was.
I know,
Yeah.
and I got tipped off a little bit because Skrilla the Great I have not seen in person in a solid handful of months, and so I made sure to find him kind of pregame just to see how he's been and stuff like. You always want to check in. I mean, we could talk and message all day long on the internet, but until I see you and face to face, wanted to feel out how he was doing. Apparently, he's doing really well. Um, there's a chance we're going to see a lot more of him, which is great. But he took on J. Alpha Miller. So the way I broke this down, and as Rocky said, nobody breaks it down like I do, but I'm very familiar with both of them.
Break it down.
J. Alpha Miller is the 2024 Georgia Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Gorilla the Great is the 2023 Georgia Wrestler of the Year, and he was one half of the Georgia Feud of the Year. Do you happen to know who he feuded with in 2023 that got him that award?
I will say I am ignorant to this fact.
He won that award for Feud of the Year and had to accept it on behalf of the other side because it was Skrilla versus the state of Georgia.
Hmm.
That was Feud of the Year because he took on the entire state of Georgia, and the King of Controversy was reigning high at the end.
And you know what? I think he won.
He did. He very much won 2023. He had a quiet 2024. He will not have a problem with me saying that, but he looks to make a big jump here in 25.
He's
I
looking
thought they
to
had a
end
great match.
25 real loud, which is exactly what we are all happy to see because we have all missed
Yeah,
our hometown king, as he likes to be referred to, Skrilla the Great.
absolutely. I thought they had a great match. It was not the match I was expecting out of the two, but I think it was the one we needed. And they tore each other apart. And for people who don't know, at the time when Alpha got himself disqualified, Skrilla was going for the Skrill ride, which is a second rope cutter. That's why he was running to the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skrilla would never run away from a fight, especially not from someone like J. Alpha Miller.
Right. Oh yeah, neither one of them will run from a fight, and we'll get more into that later. But what an opener that was! I mean, you get the pre-show, you get that as the opener. I mean, you're like, how in the world can you pivot from here to be something great?
I mean, before the
And
wrestling even started, things were getting very heated on that microphone between the two of them. You know,
yep.
I might have played a little bit of an instigator, but I'll tell you what, that's what I love to see, though. I don't want to see our men just fighting with their fists. I want to see them fighting with their minds. You know.
Oh yeah, and you don't have to provoke either one of them. They will happily open their mouth.
Oh, definitely.
But like I said, we come out of that match and we're like, man, where can you possibly go from there? Well, we get special referee and longtime fan of 12 gauge Matt Williams, who went for the $50 put me in, coach. I'm ready to play package.
Indeed, you know what? I'll tell you what. Matt, I'm guessing Matt's probably watching.
Probably.
I I am so sorry I handed you the microphone. That was such a mistake on my part, and it will never happen again, Matt. I promise.
I do like how you really buttoned it up right at the end when you took the microphone back. You just kind of walk over and you go, and he hands it back to you, and you're like, "Yeah, folks, for $50, you can embarrass yourself on a microphone just like he did." Now back to the action.
I
And it's
couldn't.
not that he said anything crazy. It's just I think he ran out of things to say, and he was
Well,
jawing with Carson in the
I,
front row. That was you're going to lose that battle.
absolutely. Carson, that is my future tag team partner right there. Carson is the absolute man, and so to try and hold the microphone and step toe to toe with Carson was definitely a huge mistake. But I gotta say, like I think we were kind of Matt's voice cracked right at the start. I mean, I really think that the pressure was on him, and he was trying to come in with that big heel energy, and I don't think the crowd was ready for that, and that's why
No,
Carson, as the baby face that he is, and I mean that quite literally, absolutely just stood up to him and knocked him right down. So Matt, I'm sorry, you were standing across from a legend in the making, so you did not have a chance, a snowball's
no,
chance in hell you did not have. So it is
exactly.
it is the way it is sometimes. But you know what? We fall down so we can get back up and dust ourselves off.
Absolutely. And he said he did enjoy himself, which is good because
Good.
now we get to the match he got to referee.
I
And
think
that
everyone
was
enjoyed that match.
I think we all did because I didn't know what to expect. I knew what what Eden was going to bring to the table. I had no idea what Yonko was. I ran into him in the parking lot and he got to meet my niece and my niece just adored him for some reason. But then again, my sister-in-law works at Folklore, and so she's kind of used to people that look like that. So she just kind of gravitated to him like this is family here, and so we got to see Yonko versus Eden in quite possibly one of the strangest carnivalistic matches I've ever seen. But it was just a beautiful work of art.
I'll say Yanko's use of his mime abilities was
Yes,
not something I had on my card for the night. I mean, Eden would never have even gotten in the ring if Yanko had not lassoed them up and just pulled them right in. And
yeah,
even after that, Eden was trying to run away, and I was the only thing that kept the show going at that point because Eden, I don't blame you at all for not wanting to be in that ring with Yanko. But I mean, some nights you just got to break the clown out, and
yeah.
that night we broke the clown out.
Oh yeah, and I don't have a direct update on Eden's hand where she punched the invisible wall. I know Rocky said something about it too. I think she's okay. I think it was just some minor bruising. I think she's going to be good for the November show, but
I
I
think
don't have
Eden
a direct
has.
update.
I think Eden has an invisible brace for the invisible injury. I mean that only makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely so. But like I said, that was it. Just reminded me of being at a middle of nowhere carnival and just seeing the most great spectacle you could ever see in your life. Like nobody else can see this specialness except for us right now.
Except for apparently a Mr. Funny Time sideshow, which is where
Yeah.
Yanko Bailey is billed from. So
I think that is right off of a rest stop, maybe somewhere in Kansas or something. I think is where that is. But then we get a little more serious as we get current number one contender Troy Carter, who had three opponents because it was a fatal four way, it wasn't a 3-on-1. It almost was. BK Bennett, we get to see newcomer Severin, who comes from the Gangrel camp, and we got to see Christian Garrett also. And I felt like we didn't know Christian, we didn't know Severin. I felt like they made their presence known in this. BK and Severin got into it for about 2/3 of the match, so where hopefully we see those two square off sometime soon. But in the end, it's the number one contender Troy Carter who reigns supreme.
I'll tell you what, Jeremy. We were just having a laugh talking about Eden and Yanko's match, and this fatal four way was great. But more than the fatal four way, I'm just, I guess, heartbroken is the only word that can be used after what Troy Carter did later in the night, which I know we can talk about later in the show, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to think about him winning this match without it being absolutely tainted by everything else that happened later in the night.
And
But to try and leave that out for just a second to focus on the match, absolute all-star performance from all four of these guys, no
yeah,
doubt. Future contenders for the 12 gauge title, no doubt. Not just Troy Carter; those other three men absolutely put on a hell of a fight. So hopefully, as you said, we get to see BK and Severin just absolutely settle that beef one on one. But yeah, Troy might have won, but I think Troy needs to. needs to watch what he's doing because someone's gonna take him out after what he did.
And we'll get to that because I weighed in on that on the live show, and I know you didn't see my comment on there, and I'm going to pretty much double down on it when I get here. So we'll see if I agree with you or not. Um, Up next, we got to see Chad Skywalker in what was supposed to be a Halloween hardcore match, which it still turned into be, but we didn't see Hakeem Young. Apparently,
No,
Hakeem Young didn't catch his ride, didn't make his ride. Not sure what happened there, but instead, in steps somebody I've only heard a name and seen a couple clips of in Edward Draven. And I got to say, for all the hype leading into this that I'd heard from Edward Draven, including he faced Skrilla about a week or two ago, and I've asked Skrilla about him, and he says, "Bro, you just got to see him in person." I saw Edward Draven in person on Saturday, and I was highly impressed. He gave Chad Skywalker everything he could have until his shoulder gave out.
absolutely yes. I mean, I, now Chad isn't always the nicest guy in the world. You know,
Mm.
sometimes Chad goes a little far. Some may argue that he went a little far in that match, but you know what? He was there for a blood feud, and
Yes,
so it's Edward Draven's fault as far as the blood feud is concerned for stepping in because Chad gave him the warning. Chad told him
yes.
he was not there for a wrestling match. He was there for a fight, and so
Mm-hmm.
I think Draven really did a great job holding it all, but I I I love Chad. And so having him in there is always fantastic. 12 gauge could always use a little more Chad Skywalker, but Edward Draven, no doubt, I want him to come back as soon as he's healed up because he absolutely blew me away. I mean, we knew he was going to be in the building that night, but we did not know what he was going for because
Yeah.
we didn't know there was going to be a match. You know, we were all waiting for Hakeem and he was nowhere to be found. So for Edward to just step up and fill in like that is shows you, you know, he's got not just a lot of talent, but he's got the cojones to stand up and just get in a hardcore match the second he arrives. So good for him. He truly is the father of Flawless.
And I do have an update on him. They initially thought maybe that he either tore his shoulder or they separated his shoulder. Apparently, he got checked out at the hospital, and it's some sort of soft tissue related injury. It's
Mm.
still a pretty bad strain or sprain or tear or something, but he's getting evaluated by some specialists, and we should know more soon. But that's a legit injury. That match actually ended slightly earlier than it probably should have because he just couldn't continue.
Yeah, well, in a match like that, anything can be the difference maker. You bring in a chair, you bring in a guitar, and you're smashing it over each other's heads. Things are going to happen. So, of course, everyone in our audience, as well as us, we are all hoping the best for Edward Draven.
Yeah, and I got to bring that up. I was going to bring that up. I know how that particular guitar got in the ring and got slid in front of a particular
Oh,
person because it happened to be right in front of the side of the ring I was on. I wasn't video, and we'll have to check with the father son podcast. Maybe they have it on video. But
double check the footage.
any explanation on how that guitar got there?
You know, I think a very handsome fella uh, was watching the match and realized that things were a bit uneven, and everyone deserves a fighting chance. And you know what? When there are no rules, you can't break the rules.
Right.
So everyone needs a friend, everyone needs a helping hand, and what can I say? Sometimes you need to support both parties.
It's true. I agree with that. I didn't think that particular person did anything wrong, so I
I
agree
don't
with
think
that.
that person did either. And whoever he is, he was a very handsome feller. Would
There
make
you
a
go.
great ring announcer. Absolutely,
He definitely would. I mean, he's gonna have to fend off Carson for that title, but
absolutely. And you know what? Carson might have it.
and that's just a sidebar that I am very excited that Carson has focused his attention on taking your job and stopped trying to take mine for a minute. So
You know
I
what?
appreciate the break.
Carson was very intent on taking my job the entire night, to a point where it was almost distracting for me doing my job. So Carson you better watch out because I might have to be on your and your dad's show again and take some of that thunder back this way.
Might have to tap into a certain school system and change some grades around where maybe he's not allowed to be live at a show or something.
Carson, we're getting you grounded, bud.
Oh, that's not hard. I think I can send a message right now and get that to happen. But
Oh well, seeing the way that him and his dad interact, I'm surprised he's not grounded 24/7. You know what? Actually, you know what? I'm more surprised Carson hasn't grounded Jeff. That's what I'm more surprised by.
I mean, he did stun him at some point. He
Oh,
dropped him with a stunner.
oh, I've seen it right in front of me, brother. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be on the other end of it.
But oh, we got plenty of time. Okay. Next up after that was a new face to Rome, not a new face to me. Have known Gnosticism for a couple of years now, but the world got to meet their hoochie daddy in Gnosticism, and he took on Chris Crunk. I still want to know what Rocky has against Chris Crunk, that he just brings in these just killers to face him. And Crunk was doing a pretty good job until Nausea. Ever since he turned heel and went bad a couple months ago, officially on all platforms, there's not a level he won't go to try to win the match. So he grabs Roxy, throws her to the ground. As Crunk goes to tend to her, that's when Troy Carter, as you said, come out. Troy
Yes.
goes, "I got this." Crunk gets back in the ring. Naja ends up finding a way to get that one there. Naja, by the way, does have 3 or 4 titles, so it's not that he's a slouch.
Oh yeah, no, Naja definitely can back up what he's saying. And he says an awful lot, but he can
Yes,
back
he
up
does.
what he's saying. And I'll tell you what, Naja, hardest name to announce the entire night. Not just because Najasism is not the most natural off the tongue, but also because while I was announcing him, he couldn't help but get in the microphone
He
to
does. That's
repeat
what he
his
does.
own intro because that's how much of a narcissist narcissism is.
He really is.
But
Yeah.
I'll say, look, my mama raised me that if I got nothing nice to say, I shouldn't say nothing at all. So I'm gonna say something nice to balance out the fact that I got something not so nice to say. So first of all, narcissism, fantastic wrestler from a physical prowess point of view. I mean, he
Hmm.
was doing things that I have not even seen on television, let
He's
alone
so fast.
in independent wrestling. He was an absolute show stealer in many ways. But that being said, uh, his interactions with Roxy that night were just absolutely disgusting. There's no excuse for that behavior. I mean,
Yep.
to just grab her and like it's like he forgot he was in a wrestling match for a second,
Yeah.
and he grabbed her, like he was her boyfriend or something, and it's just like Roxy Red is as 12 gauge as it gets. She is
Yep.
deep in the family roots of 12 gauge. And so to show disrespect, not just to Roxy Red, but to all of 12 gauge pro wrestling by doing that, he's really putting a stamp on himself as someone who kind of needs to get their ass kicked. And I'll tell you what, it might not happen on November 8th. It might not happen at the show after that, but one day someone's going to put him where he belongs, and he's gonna have to take a good look in the mirror. But Chris Crunk, uh, again, a show just filled with horrible actions being taken. With what Troy Carter did to Chris
Yeah.
Crunk is absolutely sick. Because you know what, the man already lost a match. The man was already beaten down. And to comment on what you said about all of Crunk's opponents lately, Crunk comes out and he talks a big game, and he always backs up his game.
Yep.
And it's just that sometimes, it's the world of wrestling. You can't win them all. Sometimes you're gonna take the 3 count. Sometimes you're gonna tap out. Sometimes things happen, and he didn't deserve any of that. And so Troy Carter, if you're watching this, just absolutely disgusted. And quite frankly, I hope that I never see you at one of our shows ever again.
that being said, Troy, since you are probably watching this show, I will echo and double down on what I said in the live show with Rocky, or what I typed, I guess. Um, I thought for his quest for the title, this was the best move he could have made that night. I don't agree with it at all, but him trying to get the crowd behind him has not been the world's greatest thing. He's not been able to get them behind him. So why not turn your back on all of them and just try to beeline straight through who you have to get to it? Because yes, you're the number one contender thanks to the gauntlet, but you've been in every other match but a contenders match ever since. So no matter how many wins you're racking up, you're going to have to take out Chris Crunk. You're going to have to take out um, you're going to have to take out the Chad Skywalkers of the world. You're going to have to take out those kind of people, the Warden. You're going to have to take those people out of your way so that you finally can leapfrog them all and get your shot. So I don't condone what you did, but I totally get it.
I can taking myself out of the situation and viewing it objectively. I can absolutely agree with your statement there, Jeremy. But you know, I just personally think there's a better way to do things. Now, if you were talking to the Kyle Charisma of a few months ago, I
Yeah.
would I would probably be on Troy's side because I would say, who cares about these people and if they like you or not? It's about winning. It's about getting that money. But you know, um, after everything that's happened in the last couple months between me and Ryan Marks, between me and Carson, and
Yeah.
between Walker 13 and I've come to realize that people come to see us because we have something that no one else has. At
Hmm.
12 gauge pro wrestling, you can really be part of the show.
Yeah.
And there's so many places where you're just a face in the crowd and you can cheer for the good guys and boo the bad guys. But when you come to a 12 gauge show, you are part of that show. You
Yep.
are part of our family. And so for Troy to turn his back on this family is absolutely appalling. And quite frankly, I cannot wait to see him go toe to toe with Walker 13 and Walker 13 show him who the real daddy of this family is, because it's not Troy Carter and it's Walker 13. He's here, he's 12 gauge for life, and so is Chris Crunk, and so am I. So for Troy to come in here and spit in our faces and just act like 12 gauge means nothing to him, absolutely, absolutely drives me up the wall. But I get it. I get it from his perspective. He wants that belt, don't we all?
Yep.
Absolutely disgusted.
But we only have a couple minutes left. I don't want to
Yeah,
gloss over the next match too much, but we have to hit the main for a lot of reasons.
absolutely.
Warden needed an opponent. J. Alpha Miller answered it with the slinging of a lot of chairs there for a while, but in the end, the Warden gets his comeuppance on Alpha, and that's another time where Alpha steps up, but I think he just caught the wrong end of the bull.
Yeah, that was two L's in one night, really, for J Alpha, and so I'm always happy to see Warden kick some butt. I love the Warden, and what can I mean, he's literally the one who carried me to safety when I was attacked by Ryan Marks. So Warden is one
Yeah,
of my boys. J Alpha Miller, better luck next time, brother, because nothing will take down the Warden.
absolutely. Man, we got a minute and a half. I don't think that's long enough to get into the main event. Do you?
Are you saying we need a part two?
We might need a part two
We might need a
in the
part
first
two.
episode. We'll do in part two. We'll address the main event, and Matt Williams and a lot of other people had some questions, so we
There
will
we go.
definitely get into those. But yeah, there will be a part two to the initial episode because we both like to talk, and we're gonna tell you everything we're thinking.
There we go.
Um,
Continued in part two.
yeah, continued in part two. He's Kyle Charisma. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. This is Charismatic Impact, the 12 gauge review of House of Fears, part one. We'll be back for part two in a few minutes.